Welcome back to the weekly news roundup. This is the business edition, and we will also visit Sillyville near the end. These are recorded live Fridays, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, if you would like to catch the show live. Well, to start, the FCC chair, the new one, who replaced Asia Shut Your Pie Hole, plans to block exclusive deals that limit ISP choice in apartments. So in many places, you go into an apartment and there's only one option for your internet service provider. And this generally means they can charge a whole lot more money. And so they're basically saying, yeah, you can't really do that. It is slightly monopolistic to say, oh, all of my tenants can only buy internet from you. Give me a kickback, fool. And that is problematic. So hopefully this is something that will enable us to get a little bit more competition going on, which is always good for the consumer to have competition. The question is who paid to have all those things wired. Usually the answer, though, is the property owner. So I don't see why this is a problem. You go and like, oh, I need internet at this house. So like, oh yeah, we serve internet at that house. You finally move in, you drop your $100,000, you get into your house, you're like, we don't have internet. We can run wire out there. It's going to cost you like $20,000. The hell are you talking about? I think there's actually some bills to prevent people from doing that too. So that'll be an interesting thing to watch. Let me know any downsides you see to this in the comments. That'd be interesting to know. Well, 7 years after it was launched, the SpaceX rocket is about to collide with the moon. Guys, this is why I mentioned last week that we're doing and approving way too much crap without stopping and thinking about it. Like the 5G, get the 5G out. The military's like, dude, this is going to interfere with our stuff. The weatherman's like, this slows down our ability to detect hurricanes by like 2 days. Airplanes are going to crash. No, it's perfectly fine. And then they roll it out, and then it's like lots of problems, all this kind of stuff. Then we talked about the Starlink satellites last week as well, that there are certain types of telescopes that will always, from this time out, see Starlink satellite streaks all through them. So I guess the astronomers are just going to have to start selling any photographs they already have as NFTs because you can't take them anymore without Starlink crap showing over. So now this SpaceX rocket launches out 7 years ago, and it's just on a collision course with the moon. I mean, we don't have enough of a pollution problem on the Earth. Let's just start polluting the moon before we even get there. And so they're like, oh, this is great. This is amazing. It's going to give us a lot of information. What information? You're smashing a rocket into the surface of the moon. At least it's the good side. It's the dark side of the moon. Yeah, if you watch Dark Skies, it's really a payload. It's going to blow up the secret Nazi base that's on the dark side of the moon. I mean, really, guys, really. But yeah, we're already starting to pollute up the moon by launching SpaceX rockets into it because, hey, nothing else to do. We have no short-term thinking. Hey, where's this rocket going to go there? It's 7 years out. Who cares? It's going to crash into the moon, I guess. So we need to stop and slow down on some of this crap. We don't need to run our entire society at breakneck speeds because there's consequences to some of these things. And unfortunately, though, we are now a generation that is raised on instant gratification. And that is kind of where the problem comes from. Well, this is over in the EU. Apparently, I think this is UK, actually. Gov.uk, that's a good indicator. So the Xbox is violating a lot of their terms for renewing subscriptions. Basically, somebody can go into Xbox, create the account, which costs a certain amount of money per month or per year, whatever else, usually per year. And then a lot of people are going in there, creating the account, and they're not really using it. They're not really logging into it. But Microsoft, they're not reminding people. They're just simply charging the credit card. Charge the credit card. Charge the credit card. And then a lot of people look back going, wait, what's this coming from? And so the ruling from UK government says that, no, you actually have to have regular reminders you're about to get billed, the easy ability to opt out of it, the easy ability to cancel the accounts. And so Microsoft, well, they don't have to do anything immediately. They have to roll this out in the next year, and these are the stipulations. Number one, better upfront information. Microsoft will be more transparent upfront information to help customers understand their Xbox membership, making clear that the subscription will auto-renew unless the customer turns off auto-renewal, when the subscription will auto-renew, how much it will cost, and how the customer can receive a refund for an accidental renewal. Number two is refunds. Microsoft will be contacting existing customers on recurring 12-month contracts, give them the option to end their contract and to claim a pro rate refund. Inactive memberships. Microsoft will also contact existing customers who have not used their membership for a long time but are still paying. These customers will be reminded how to stop the payments, and if they continue to not use their memberships, Microsoft will ultimately stop taking further payments. And number 4, better information about price increases, because Microsoft hasn't been doing that apparently. They'll give clear notifications on any future price changes and will ensure people to know how to turn it off. So I think that's all kind of good stuff. Kind of is like, hey, we don't just want to go in there and just, make it really easy to sign up for something and really hard to not sign up for something. And an update, and I put this update near the end because our final story is on Google too. The legacy G Suite users who were either going to have their data permanently deleted or be forced to pay, now they have a path to migrate to a free account. Obviously, you're going to lose any custom domain connection because that is a paid service. And if you're over any free data caps, you lose that cap as well. But they are doing the right thing here and giving us a pathway to migrate to a free account now. So that's actually really good. And this they didn't really announce it. It just kind of showed up on the support page one day where somebody ended up spotting it. Coming months will provide an option for you to move your non-Google Workspace paid account and most of your data to a no-cost option. This new option won't include premium features like custom email or multi-account management, but you will be able to evaluate this option prior to July 1st, 2022, and prior to account suspension. We'll update the article with more details in the coming months. So if you were one of those free legacy G Suite users, you now have a path to go into the free account should you not want to ditch Google altogether and go to Nextcloud, guys. I mean, really. And on to our feature story. Google Drive is flagging nearly empty files for copyright infringement. They're locking some accounts, and in some cases, they will just delete accounts. What is in the data? The digit 1. So somebody had a document in their Google Drive, and it simply had the digit 1. And Google Drive flagged it as copyrighted material. So I'm not sure who in the world copyrighted the number 1. Maybe it was the same people that did 9 and they copied 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They're gonna make 9 of those movies. 8's just not out yet. It's gonna follow each one of the puppets as it goes through its creation origin story, like Marvel Comics has been doing apparently. But apparently what happened is this is auto-generated information from the output of a homework assignment. So some professor gave some homework assignment that ended up copyright striking a lot of people's Google accounts, I guess. I don't know. The output was created by CSE 830 Spring 2022. Test cases, homework 3, quiz 3 output, and the drive. 1 too many digits. A pseudo-anonymous user also shared screenshots of the Google Drive where files contain just the digit 1 with or without a new character lines were flagged. 1 byte of file contains just 1. 2 byte is just 1/n. And 3 byte not flagged yet was 1/r/n. He wrote, the user, your file violates Google Drive's terms of service. Your file 1.txt content that violates Google Drive's copyright infringement policy, and hence some of the features related to this file may have been restricted. Thanks for helping Google keep the web safe. A review cannot be requested for this restriction. What the hell? So after some poking around here, the professor did some fun experimentation, generating over 2,000 files, each containing numbers between -1,000 and 1,000. Files containing 173, 174, 186, 266, 285, 302, 336, 451, 500, 833 were all flagged shortly after Google Drive for copyright infringement. Some allege that if the file contains just the digit 0, Google will permanently disable your account. Guys, use Nextcloud. Really. The new Nextcloud comes with its own built-in server for using LibreOffice or only Office as a Google Docs replacement. You can share the files with your friends. You can joint collaborate on them. It works just fine. So, yeah. Google seems aware of the issues, working on a resolution. Company additionally shared links requesting a view of a violation, urge users to visit the community forum. Of course, go to the community forum and complain about you cannot request a review of this violation. Google's amazing. Well, if you'd like to help support the channel, I do have affiliates. Today we are highlighting A2 Hosting. This is a service that I use, and I use it with a lot of my clients as well. tlm.li/A2H. You can jump in and get some web hosting. So $2.99 is your starting price, $5.99, which has a few different services in it. There's a bunch of other things. You can also do things like manage WordPress, which you never, ever, ever, ever do. Do not buy managed WordPress hosting. It sucks. There's managed VPS, managed dedicated hosting, lots of things you can do, and you can choose 1 month, 12 months, or 36 months to get started. So have a look at the service over there, tlm.li/A2H, if you are in need of a self-hosted email or website or anything else. Well, guys, let's go to Sillyville. So first up in Sillyville, a French surgeon tried to sell Bataclan victims' x-rays as an NFT. So apparently this was a terrorist event, or at least a bombing of some form or another, or a shooting. Some horrible, tragic public event occurred. Some dude was carted off to the hospital with a bullet in his wrist, and the doctor is trying to sell NFTs of the victim's x-ray without consulting the NFT, the victim anyway. So basically this is like NFTs gone wild. Like, yeah, here's an x-ray of a guy with a bullet in his arm. Yeah, that's exciting. He is now under investigation, of course, and they're looking at, I don't know, some form of sanctions for his work. Martin Hirsch, the head of the Paris Public Hospitals, tweeted that the surgeon would face criminal and professional complaints over his disgraceful and scandalous actions. The act is contrary to sound professional practice, you think, puts medical secrecy in danger, and goes against the values of APHP, Paris Hospitals, and public service. Yeah, you think? The NFTs are going wild, guys. This is a crazy, stupid fad. I mean, I'm telling you. There's no intrinsic value to this. That's my thought. Well, the first prescription video game company goes public. So we actually reported on this a year ago, and I went back and looked at that. So basically, we have an ADHD approved game. Now, I will remind you that the FDA does not actually do any real work. It's just an extension of the people who pay it to approve its stuff. So basically this company produces a video game and just says, hey, this video game can help ADHD. Well, you know, I think any video game probably help ADHD, because is it shocking, like all these kids that allegedly have ADHD, is it shocking how you put them in front of a movie they like? They have no problem paying attention for hours at a time. You give them a video game, you gotta peel them up off of the couch when they're playing their video games, because every video game holds their attention. The problem is they just don't like the boring teachers in their schools, and which is where most of the ADHD referrals are coming from. And then on top of that, we have them very poor nutrition. We remove all of the fat from their diet so their brains are not properly developing. We give them nothing but sugar type substances, and then they're sitting here in this constant state like this all day in a classroom where they're not allowed to do anything but sit still. And we're wondering why they have concerns. And so this company, who now, of course, they're public, so you know they're making a lot of money, or they will be making a lot of money. In fact, it says in here that they're working on ways to commercialize it. Yeah, great. We're going to commercialize the video game. This is the first approved video game to do ADHD. And I love the side effects of the game. Was it this or was it the original article? I think it was the original article. Yeah, so the original side effects of the game are headaches. I think it was headaches, lazy eye, all the basic things that you get from playing video games for too long. How does it actually help? I don't know. Any video game will probably do that. I mean, literally, it sounds like Mario Brothers. Literally, it just sounds like Mario Brothers. All you're doing is just avoiding stuff on the screen. Driving around things. Very interesting. So I wouldn't put any stock in that, but hey, maybe if you want to buy some stock in that, it might be a good thing to do. Who knows? But anyway, our world is going crazy. You can now get prescribed. Oh, by the way, that's the funny thing about this, is that doctors are now actually writing a prescription to play this video game for like 30 minutes a day. Like, remember the time when your parents were like, no more than 30 minutes of video games in a day because we were worried it was going to mess us up? Now the doctors are saying, go take your kid home, and he's forced to play this video game for $30 a day. The kid just goes to the doctor and say, hey, doc, my case is really bad. Can you make that an hour? Sure, why not? Welcome to Sillyville, folks. Well, Grid Studios turns your old hardware like Game Boys and iPhones into art for your home. This is exciting. So you send them your old device and they're going to professionally disassemble it and make a schematic diagram of it. Look at this thing. Here's your little Sega Game Gear. They pull it out. Here's your thumbprints. Here's the little modular for, what is this? This is the power board. Here's your original Game Boy. Yeah, you got your buttons, you got your button sensors there. You have your volume mode. This is awesome. I mean, man, I kind of want to buy some of these now. These look awesome. Little BlackBerry. So if you do have that new hardware, you're like, I don't know what in the world to do with it, and you like pictures on your wall, dude, send this to this company, Grid Studio, man. They'll disassemble your stuff for you, give you a good diagram. It's amazing. Like, this is my first iPhone, kids. This is what they used to look like. Whoa, Dad, that thing's weird, you know. They're gonna have these, pure glass things. I don't know. Well, the new iOS 15.4 will now have a use Face ID with a Coofy catcher because, of course, when this starts becoming integrated into the operating system, kind of like I warned when all of the contact tracing stuff is baked into the operating system, guys, there's no motivation to get this stuff out of here. So now you can use your Face ID with a Coofy catcher. If you are still terrified of something, you can go ahead and use your iPhone with a Coofy catcher, because why not? This is my favorite story of the week. It's not our feature story, but it's the favorite story of the week. Neil Young demands Spotify removes his music over Joe Rogan's misinformation, we'll suggest. Misinformation. If you guys are still saying, who's Neil Young and why should we care? He's a burnt out hippie who had one or two popular hits in, I don't know, the 80s or something, who thinks he's like, I am so significant in rock and roll because I, like every other person who's ever had a hit song, I'm amazing. And he's like, Spotify, you choose me or Joe Rogan. I have not heard a proposal as stupid and asinine since Job questioned God in the Bible. So needless to say, he did that very publicly. So Spotify came out a couple days later and said, all right, Neil Young, we're taking your stuff off Spotify. Who are you again? For comparison, Neil Young combined on his, 3-minute songs gets about 6 million views a month. Joe Rogan on his 3-hour podcast gets about 600 views in a month. Needless to say, Joe Rogan brings a whole lot more people to the platform than Neil Young. I'm not sure there's anybody living that's like, guys, tell me in the comments, when's the last time you're like, I gotta listen to that Neil Young song? Let me know in the comments. I gotta know. When's the last time that you were like, I gotta go to Spotify and find some Neil Young? Just let me know in the comments. And on to our feature story, MS Woke. Now they are rolling out their inclusiveness checker in Microsoft Word. Now, so far, this is opt-in. That is the good news. The bad news is it will eventually be opt-out or completely locked in. But if it detects that you are typing things that are not inclusive enough, it is going to correct you. So we have fabulous things. It is not Mrs. Thatcher, excuse me. It's Ms. Thatcher. The person, it's not for turning. Barry Manilow, his stuff needs rewritten anyway. It sucked. He's about as influential to me as Neil Young. So her name was Lola, and she was a performing artist, not a showgirl. Showgirl, I mean, that's just offensive and sexist. But no, it's a performing artist. She was a performing artist. Possibly a male one in our current world, too. I mean, you never know. Neil Armstrong, he did not say one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. No. It was one small step for man, one giant leap for humanity. I mean, Postman Pat is not gender neutral, so the system is suggesting calling him mail carrier or postal worker Pat. Okay. Headmaster. Oh, you can't do headmaster. You got to do principal. Mistress is lover. Again, our modern world, that could go either way. I mean, master, those racist terms. No, expert. Manpower, no. Workforce, and heroine is hero. I mean, what am I talking about shooting some up? I mean, really. But anyway. So yeah, the latest version of Office 365 is and it does underline everything in purple. I am offended the fact that it underlines in purple. I want it to underline stuff in rainbows. I want it to be the full flowing, perfectly spectrum LGBT community color underneath every word it finds inclusively offensive. That's what I want to see. And until Microsoft gets it right, I'm not content with purple. I want to see the whole spectrum rainbow. And if you're really feeling inclusive, you have the toggle option for the colors for Black Lives Matter too, because that's what Microsoft needs to do. And this is the company that started doing some of their things not long ago, where everybody introduced themselves by describing themselves, giving their specific racial profiles in addition to their pronouns. This is getting kind of crazy, but yeah, you can turn it on. It is called Grammar and Refinements. And it has specific lists. You can check for age bias, cultural bias, ethnic slurs, gender bias, gender neutral pronouns, gender specific language, racial bias, sexual orientation bias, and socioeconomic bias. And of course, Bill Gates, who is absolutely his task. I figured his task out. His task is to make sure that nobody else becomes as successful as he is, because last year he donated $1 million to an organization called Equitable Math, which aims to dismantle racism in mathematics. I have a small tip for you guys. Sometimes I do math problems for fun. I know I'm a geek, but I do. I have a calculus book in my van. It is right down here, literally. If you guys think I'm lying, of all of the things you fit in a small space, here's my calculus book. Literally. Okay? I'm a geek. I like thinking. Of every math problem I've ever seen, I've not one time, not once, seen a racist math problem. I've never seen a racist math problem. What in the hell are you talking about, Bill Gates? I'm going to donate $1 million to have equitable math to dismantle racism in mathematics. By the way, this means 1 + 1 doesn't always equal 2. It equals 3 if I feel it. Yeah. And we want to send people to the moon? We're not going to send people up to this. We're going to send people to Walmart without a problem anymore. Take away their phone GPS. I don't know. I don't get the Walmart. Follow directions. But yeah, Microsoft is getting a little bit crazy. Kind of crazy. Kind of nuts, guys. Well, anyway, if you want to help support the channel, I do have a Subscribestar page, subscribestar.com/SwitchedToLinux. Jump on over there, help support the channel. Let me know your thoughts on all this crazy nonsense in the comments down below. Thank you for watching this video from SwitchedToLinux. This channel would not be possible without the backing of the program supporters scrolling on the screen now. You can be a supporter at Patreon at patreon.com/TOMM or at thinklifemedia.com. I also want to thank the open source community who creates such excellent software that makes producing this show possible. Please remember to support your software communities. Thank you, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.